Thanks for joining us for another episode of IT and Motorsport's Channel Cars. This episode with Paul Cox from Sound Networks. Paul, hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, very good. Sun's out, it's not raining. We're lucky.
That's about as good as it gets, really, isn't it?
Absolutely, definitely.
It's a little bit windy, so apologies for any turbulence that might be experienced during the making of this, and slightly inspired by the jumbo jet behind us, which we'll have a little look at as well as we go around the car. So let's start with a tour of the car.
Okay.
And as we have already established, unnamed and sexless.
Yes, absolutely.
I say that in a bad way, but
It's not by design,
factual.
that's just the way it's worked out, you
Yeah.
know. It just is.
So tell us how you have come to be the proud owner.
So I had another Beetle before, and a friend of mine makes it his business to service and restore these for a living.
Okay.
Has been doing so for 30 or so years. And one year I picked up the other Beetle from MOT and started to have a conversation with him about, you know what, I'd quite like to get this painted. And he said, you know what, Paul, it's just never going to be the car that you want it to be. But I've got this. And he pulled off a tarpaulin from a shell, just a shell on the ground,
Okay.
and a chassis propped up against the wall with a hole in it. Said, we could do this as a Saturday project here, and it'll probably take us about 18 months and we'll get it on the road, because it's a good solid shell, just needs a bit of welding, you know, new floor pans, all that sort of usual thing for a Beetle.
Okay.
And 7 years later, because life happened and things got in the way, eventually it was fully born and it was on the road.
I know it's not the right thing to do to ask about money so early in the conversation, but 7 years, lots of new bits,
Lots of new
labour.
bits, yeah.
Do we have an estimate on what the project cost?
Well, first of all, it's definitely worth less than what I paid for it.
Okay.
Because, you know, restoration, you never get the money back.
Okay.
I've probably sunk over £20,000 into it.
Okay.
Insurance value, 15.
Okay.
Whether you actually could sell it for that or not, I don't know. It depends who wants it. As Volkswagens go, this is a thing called a 1302S.
Okay.
So it was a 2-year only model, which makes it desirable and desirable all in one go.
Okay.
Because this was the latter type, which had a McPherson strut front suspension as opposed to a beam axle. So it was argued that because the front is slightly more bulbous, it's slightly less elegant than the earlier Beetles, which makes it a lot less desirable. I still like it. It's just a Beetle as far as I'm concerned. But there's now not many of them left because they only made it for 2 years. Because it was a bit less desirable, people didn't hang on to them for as long. So there's not many around now. So there's more 1950s oval windowed Beetles on the road than there are of these. And this was the earlier version of this model, which had a slightly smaller back window, the 2 vents in the rear deck lid as opposed to 4. So that makes it a 1-year only model. So there's not many about. And we ran it for 2 or 3 years with the standard 1600 engine. And then it was upgraded to a 1.8 or 1776 to be specific. And that's got some nice bits in it. It's got a fully balanced bottom end, it's got a counterweighted crank, it's got a high lift camshaft, it's got big valve heads with stainless valves and ported, it's got twin 40 Delorto carburetors, it's got big bore heat exchangers, it's got a vintage speed exhaust. So it goes a little bit better than a standard one. You can get up hills, you can keep up with modern traffic. Standard Beetle, about 50 horsepower. We're going to guesstimate this at 80.
Okay.
So we're not setting the world alight, but it just makes it easier. So if you want to go on a long trip somewhere, road trip in Europe, go to a show in Europe or something, it's got some legs.
And the actual weight of the car?
Not much.
No. So 80 horsepower.
Yeah, it's under a ton.
Yeah.
Under a metric ton. Yeah, and it's, you know, it's not, it's a low revving engine, 4,500 RPMs the max. So you're never going to make a big horsepower figure. But being a flat four boxer, it's quite grunty at the bottom end. So you don't need to rev it. You just keep giving it gears.
And that's, for driving on the road, probably more usable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I still get 30, 35 miles to the gallon. We don't look at the rusty bit.
I did spot that.
This year's 1970s Beetles were full of foam.
Okay.
And it's nicknamed Death Foam. So when we restored this was all sandblasted and it looked fine. But we should have pulled out the foam. So I have a new old stock panel for this. So that is on the roadmap to be cut out.
Okay.
And replaced. So we only learn by our mistakes, don't we?
Other than that,
yes.
I'm struggling to find any imperfection as I've walked around the car so far.
It's pretty good because every inch of it was sandblasted back to bare metal. You know, new floor pans, all the underseal that saved the original shell, that was all scraped off, and it was fine underneath, so we were able to start from scratch. The doors, I had to source replacement doors, but they're sort of, one was a new old stock door and one was a dry state import from the States. The ATS wheels were an option in period. Bought those from a guy we know in Belgium where we get a lot of our parts from. They were horrible when I bought them, but had them restored, so they acid dip them, strip all the old paint off, sandblast them and powder coat them. And I've got a period tyre on there, the Michelin XZX, which is quite tall but comfortable.
Yeah, and the wheels second-hand, the tyres I assume are still made in relative
they're remaking
runs.
them basically. They've been reborn. I don't know if it's got any modern technology in it or not. I'm not really sure. The spot lamps, they came from same chap in Belgium. Front spoiler is from a German company called Kamai. They were sold in period as well. It was TUV approved, been in the wind tunnel. Apparently it stops the front of your car lifting when you're doing over 80 miles an hour, but I think that's a bit of wishful thinking, to be honest with you.
Well, and not legally allowed in the UK either. So
exactly. So it doesn't affect me.
Just in case. So, I mean, I would say if you're a fan of this car, £20,000. I mean, it's hard to buy a car today, any car, for less than £20,000.
This is the thing. It's a funny one because if you went out to try and find one like this, regardless of the £20,000, you'd still struggle to find one.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you were to pay somebody to do it,
Yeah.
you still won't have any change out of that.
No.
I'm just lucky I got a good mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it looks...
So the carburettors, they were restored by a company called Eurocarb. They're up near Reading. So they've all been ultrasonic cleaned, everything put back to new condition, because you can't buy them anymore. They don't even, I don't think Delauto even exists as a company anymore. A lot of people would have put twin 40 Webers on. It's arguable. The Delauto's just slightly more refined, just a bit more easy to drive with. And as standard, it would have had just one single little carburettor in the middle here, which is, you know, restrictive. It's got a serpentine pulley on it as standard. It doesn't have this tensioner here. electronic ignition upgrade in the distributor, alternator upgrade. Breather box is an upgrade as well. That's from a company called Gene Berg in the States.
It just looks perfect to me, to my untrained eye.
We tried to make it. It was never the intention to make a show car.
Mm-hmm.
It was to make a car that maybe was how Volkswagen could have made it in the day if they'd made it just a bit better.
Right.
But that wasn't their remit. They were making affordable cars.
Yeah. The people's car.
Exactly, exactly. But we said, if they just, turned it up to 11,
Yeah.
what would it have been like?
So, can we have a look at the boot? Is it called the boot? The front?
The front.
Or
yeah.
the front bonnet?
It's full of my general junk, but
Okay.
that's fine. Not that I'm expecting to break down, but I just always carry lots of tools and overalls and all that kind of thing, because if I pack it, then I won't need it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly right. Like an umbrella.
exactly. It's the Boy Scout in me, see? And again, compared to the conventional Beetle with the beam axle suspension, you do get more luggage space in this,
Oh, okay.
because the spare wheel is stored flat under here, whereas the beam axle Beetle tends to be occupying this space. So you kind of only get that shelf there,
Oh, okay.
which is the fuel tank underneath that.
Right.
I'm embarrassed I haven't done my housekeeping. Look at the state of that.
To be honest, even that is pretty neatly arranged, I would say. And we've got the overalls there.
Yes,
So
yeah.
So in fact, talk us through your emergency kit.
I've got, right underneath all that, I have got a complete spare distributor with points and condenser in it.
Okay.
Because the problem is with these upgrades to electronic ignition, they're great when they work, but then because it's electronic, one day it might just stop working.
Okay.
And if you're in the middle of nowhere, or you're out in France, Belgium or Germany, chances of you getting that fixed at the side of the road and finding the part, slim to nothing. Whereas if you've got a conventional distributor, you can just pop one out, put the other distributor back in, and away you go.
Okay.
And to my mind, because everything's had a mechanical overhaul, that's actually probably the weakest link. The piece of modern electronics, ironically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, socket sets, spanners. I've got tools for balancing carburetors, should we require it. Oil. I always put an additive in the petrol.
Okay.
It's because I have to run it on super unleaded.
Okay.
But ethanol is not the friend of particularly air-cooleds, because a lot of them meet a sticky end because the rubber fuel hoses are over the engine, and if you don't keep an eye on that and the ethanol eats it away, you've got fuel on a hot engine and they go up in smoke.
Okay. Right.
Which was how I bought my first Beetle, actually, because it was one that had an engine fire.
Ah.
And I went all the way to Ilford to buy that for £250. And that was a rolling project that we got on the road eventually. And that was the one that my friend Nick said, no, you want this, you don't want that. So, I keep the little Milwaukee electric ratchet in there because, I don't know if you saw in the engine bay, because of the 240 carburetors, they're quite obstructive, they're quite a tight fit. So there are actually some additional access panels in the rear wings called high packs, which have got sort of 10 or 12 little Allen key holes in them. And you can unbolt those, take them off, and it gives you an easy access into the engine bay.
Ah. Okay.
Because without those, changing spark plugs would be like a 4-hour job. Once you've got those off, it's just quick and easy. It's half an hour. And it also helps when you're tuning the carburetors as well to get better access.
So when you go on a trip, this will take a cabin bag or certainly a soft bag?
Yeah,
I
a
would
couple
think.
of soft bags, couple of camping chairs because a lot of shows are camping.
Okay, yeah.
I've got a pop-up tent that'll go in there as well.
Okay.
And then if there's two of you, you've got space behind the back seat for luggage as well.
Okay.
And the back seat normally gets filled as well. But I mean, we've had two of us going to Germany, a 5-man tent, one of those pop-up party marquees, all our baggage for 10 days, and it's all fitted quite comfortably.
Yeah.
It's quite surprising how much you can get in. You know, it's a bit like an old Mini, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
They're full of little compartments that you can stash things away in, and yeah, just very usable.
So an old Beetle beats an old Mini in terms of...
No, I'm not going to
No?
get into that debate.
Oh, okay.
No. I like them both.
Okay.
I like them both, you know, because I think if you like cars, you like cars, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, I don't sit on a fence like that.
So speaking of sitting, let's have a look inside then.
Okie dokie. So it was retrimmed by a company called Bromsgrove Auto Trimmers.
Okay.
Did the seats and the door cards to match. The pockets on the doors, that's also by the German company called Kamai. Just gives you a little bit of extra space to put things on a trip. And the same for the centre console. That's an old Kamai centre console. Otherwise, without those things, you've just got a very small glove box to put things in, which isn't very much for a couple of people on a trip.
Well, your gloves.
Exactly. I have got some gloves.
Okay.
I don't wear them very often, but occasionally it gets a bit drafty in the winter.
And these door cards, I notice, door pockets, sorry,
Yeah.
have like a
They're
space
flopped.
for a drink.
Yeah, they've been
So that's,
modernised.
modern, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise you've got nowhere to put your coffee or your can
Yeah.
of Coke or something.
Yeah.
And in this period, a lot of them would have only had a low back seat that finished about here.
Okay.
So again, it was a conscious decision to go for a high back seat. So got these second-hand from somewhere, I can't remember where. And these are actually American spec ones.
Okay. They required a headrest at that time
Yes,
then.
exactly, safety standards. And that was part of the reason that I wanted them, you know, because it's just that bit safer in terms of whiplash, etc. It's more comfortable, certainly for the passenger on a long journey. And it's very comfortable, actually. When I first got it, I thought after a long trip, I was going to be hobbling and moaning about my back and all those kinds of things. And actually, I'm not. It's very comfortable. The only thing we didn't replace was the headliner, so that's a little bit on the tatty side, but it's a little bit of history of the car. Unfortunately, it was past keeping as a survivor car, if you know what I mean. It would have been nice to keep everything original, but it was just that little bit too far gone.
It needs to be one that's lived in a garage for 40 years.
Exactly.
This has been used. It's a working car.
Exactly. It's, you know, so it's not perfect, but I use it and I enjoy it.
And when we were organising this shoot, we did, of course, talk about the related heritage of the other rear engine model from the designer of the Beetle.
The Porsche connection.
And I'm recognising the pedals
Yeah.
as a common trait.
Yeah. I mean, certainly with, you know, an early 356 would probably feel very familiar. So we added a couple of extra gauges. We just put a rev counter in so we can see where we're at, and an oil pressure gauge, as opposed to just the standard idiot light that you get as standard, which is a red light that comes on really when it's too late, to be perfectly honest with you. And an oil pressure gauge kind of tells you everything you need to know about an air-cooled engine. Once you get to know it, it tells you if it's hot, it tells you if it's still warming up, you know, so you can drive accordingly. If you've just been up a big long hill, you'll see the oil pressure's dropped a bit, so you can just coast for a while, and then you can see that pressure coming up again. I'm quite lucky with this one because the engine was rebuilt, and it's you know, everything's back to factory spec. It's got a high pressure oil pump. It's been really good in terms of oil pressure compared to other engines I've had. The gear lever was this affects my OCD, you see, look, I've got to keep turning it to make it straight. But that was a new old stock part that was I think it was an option you could go into the dealer and buy if you didn't want just the plain little plastic gear knob. You could upgrade it with one of those. I think I bought that from an Italian guy at a swap meet in Germany years ago. And I probably paid too much for it, to be honest, but I wanted it and he knew I wanted it, so I just paid what he wanted. As you do.
So not the masterclass on negotiation.
None.
when
None.
there's
No,
a car involved.
And it was, I think I paid €80 for it, which actually was all right. And again, the steering wheel, the original steering wheel had just gone, so I got something aftermarket that was kind of period. It's a bit thicker than standard steering wheel. Very comfortable to use. There's a bit of an argument about classic cars, and part of the tactile nature of it being that you've got a sort of thin steering wheel, which is also quite nice, but then there's the usability factor of it as well. And we made sure we put in a rear screen with a heating element. Which does work very well.
So originally it wouldn't have had a heated rear screen?
I think this one did, but it was an option.
Okay.
It was an M code, as they call it.
And the sunroof, original as well?
Yeah, that's original. Actually, that's another part that if you were in an early 912, that would be exactly the same by a company called Gold, Golde. And that was quite fun to take apart and put back together again when we restored it. A little bit nerve-wracking putting the painted metal back in, but we got there. And as long as your rear passengers don't have any legs, it's fine.
Yeah, I think that's not been resolved with modern cars either.
No.
But there is some air conditioning in the back there, by the looks of it.
Yeah, this is the heating ducts.
Okay.
So you've got two levers between the seats there.
Okay.
One of them pulls open the heat exchangers to turn the heat on.
Okay.
And then the other one moves some flaps under the back seat, which dictates whether the air is coming out of these vents here under the back seat, or whether it's going down here through what's called the heater channel.
Okay.
Or the sill, so to speak. It goes down through here, and then it can come out these vents here.
Okay.
And then it will go up through this A post here and eventually come out here. But by the time it gets here, it's a bit tepid, to be perfectly honest with you. But it's something. But it will keep you warm.
Yeah, and probably right where your hands are as well, which will be the main thing you want to...
Well, that's the bit where it's sort of starting to run out of puff a bit there. But this is why, you know, you've got these lovely quarter lights, because if you open one of that on either side, that way, you get a little draft that comes in across the screen and then just keeps it demisted. And also, on a really hot day, you just open it all the way and you get a through draft from the opposite side. Plus, we've also got the pop-out windows in the back.
Ah. And and then locks them into place.
I didn't have those originally. They are proper Volkswagen ones. We tried some reproduction ones, and we got them in, but there was half an inch gap where you didn't want half an inch gap, so we abandoned that. And then some original good condition used ones turned up at our friend in Belgium, and I bought them from him, and we put these in. And it makes a massive difference when you've got the sunroof open, because you're letting the air through, otherwise you get that sort of wop 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 noise in there. Drumming.
I don't know why, but I always, when I think about the Beetle in the US, where generally they have nicer weather than us, I always think of a Beetle driving along the coastal highway.
The PCH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
that's the dream. Living the dream.
Yeah.
They are a better nice weather car than a winter car.
Yes.
I don't really drive this in the winter. After end of October, it goes in the garage, and I wouldn't say I'm, a strict no driving till March or April rule.
Okay.
But I generally don't tend to use it.
Yeah.
If it's a nice dry day and there hasn't been salt on the road for a while, I'll take it out, because I think it's worse to not use it.
Yes.
But it's, used sparingly.
No, it's a lovely, lovely car, and wouldn't have been a crime had it not been restored and had been left under a bit of plastic and leaning up against the wall somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. It's waiting to be saved.
I think you've made a brilliant job of it.
Thank you.
And of course, ably assisted by your friend
Nick. No, definitely no. I couldn't have done it without his skills. There's no doubt about that. I just did the donkey work and bought the parts. Really.
Made the tea.
Made a lot of making tea, a lot of scraping.
Okay.
Workshop labourer, really.
Yeah. 7 years, I'm sure, just went in a flash, though.
No comment.
You started your MSP to help business owners master technology. Isn't it time you were rewarded for that? MSP Finance Team helps hard-working MSP owners finally get the profit, time, and control they deserve. With better financial and strategic insight, you can make better decisions, leading to more control, profit, and time. Our approach is unique. We focus exclusively on MSP businesses, and we meld bookkeeping, CFO as a service, accounting, and mentoring to help you get started, scale, or sell. We bring you the freedom to focus on what's important, whether it's growing your business strategically or enjoying spontaneous moments with your family. So visit mspfinanceteam.com today and take the first step towards financial mastery. Because when it comes to your MSP finances, it's not just business, it's a numbers game.